Have you ever been caught in the crossroads between the art of the process and the art of wondering how to meld precision with passion in your business or your team? Well, today I have two guests who have mastered that delicate balance. First up, I have Gregga, who has seamlessly transitioned from military intelligence to guiding businesses on process optimization. And on the next level stage, I've got Concepcion, a visual artist who channels the universe's vastness into captivating abstract creations. And today, we're going to dive into this synergy and structure of story right here on the Business Breakout.
Like a stakeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes. And you can rock and roll
with an attitude so good.
Just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh.
Just the way you like it. Oh, yes, I am here today with you. And you know, this show is a show where you get to watch me run an event live. And if I'm tripping over my words today, it's because we are experiencing the techie tech of all techie techs today, but we are going to get right through it. And you know that I am never here on this stage alone. I want to introduce you to the people that I have in the room today. I mentioned I have two guests with me and they are here. Say hey. Hey, you guys. Well, they are going to be with me today, and I'm going to bring them up a little bit later on. But before we get all the way into it, I want you to ask yourself about the stories that you're telling or not telling when it comes to your business, specifically your business, and specifically on LinkedIn. You know how I feel about LinkedIn. If you have been here any length of time, you know that I love living like on the LinkedIn streets. And today I have someone who is going to help you understand how to live life with stories on these LinkedIn streets. Well, like I said, things are running on a mind of their own today. And I'm sorry that you could not see what that was that I had for you. I had Deanna Russo pulled up for you today, but that is all right. You know what? I'm going to post her a little bit later because you need to hear what it is that she has to say when it comes to telling stories about your business on LinkedIn, helping us to know, like, and trust you so much better than we do right now. And when it comes to your business and building know, like, and trust, I have a guest who really understands that because building trust is key in any business, and having processes in place to do that are vital. And my next guest has left an incredible mark in his unique arena. From providing military intelligence support for the U.S. military to now aiding marketers and accountants to scale their businesses, he masterfully integrates his deep-rooted expertise in production. He's got a mission to amplify the value of seamless processes for businesses big and small. Please welcome the strategic brain behind high-ticket monthly retainers. Please welcome Mr. Mike Gregga. Hey, Mike! How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having me today, Ella.
I am so glad to have you on the show. We've talked about this for more than a minute, and I'm glad that you are finally here with me to be able to talk about your business that I asked you for more specification on probably sometime, was it sometime last year?
Oh, yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, when we just realized that we've been friends for, was it 2 years that Facebook told us that we've been friends? But your
It's a minute.
business, you you deal a lot with resilience because your background is really steeped in military intelligence, and I would love to know how that has had a unique foundation. How has that unique foundation really shaped your approach to business, especially when you're faced with challenges and helping businesses with challenges?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Ella, and thanks for asking it. One of the biggest lessons in intelligence analysis that I learned was to be open to all the possibilities. Don't rush to judgment, test everything, keep the possibilities open. Don't try to settle on certainty because certainty is not really possible anyway. One of the biggest things that you learn in intelligence analysis is the reality of biases, different biases that color how we see things, how we understand things. And you have to follow specific time-tested processes to remove the bias from your thinking. The same is true in business. As you develop your business, as you grow, you can't assume that this is the way to do it. This is the only right way to do it. You have to recognize that it takes time. It takes trial and error to get to the place where you're going to be comfortable and you're going to be aligned with your audience and your offer. Data, not drama.
Ooh, data, not drama. That's a
That's right.
catchphrase right there. It needs to be on your website if it's not already. So, you said something that I think may sometimes be lost on people, both in large companies and small businesses. Being willing to have trial and error. For you, as someone coming from the military, knowing that the decisions that you're making, the success of major things are hinging on the decisions that you're making, how have you wrapped your brain and your mind around being okay with trial and error when error is not an option?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in so many ways, uh, this is where that resilience that you're talking about comes in, is that emotional resilience that you just have to have. It's not, we're used to putting our trust in being certain of the truth, certain of the right way forward, certain of, in an intelligence context, what the enemy is doing. But you can't ever be certain. What you have to learn to build a foundation on is your ability to adapt. Not your ability to know everything in advance, not your ability to plan everything perfectly, but in your ability to adapt to whatever comes your way. Once you learn to trust yourself that you can, in fact, adapt, and by the way, if you just look at your own history, you're going to see lots of times when you did, in fact, adapt because you're still here. And that's what it is to be human. And so when you learn to trust in your own ability to adapt, that's when you develop that emotional resilience that you need to get you through those times when it's uncertain, it's messy, it's scary.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Look, the deepness in which we will go in such a short time. I love it. When it comes to being human, and also we've got Alec watching with us on LinkedIn. He said it's an awesome catchphrase.
Thank you.
So being human in business, let's go to our business owners. Being human in business is something that is absolutely vital, especially in this day and age right now, where people are searching for ways to be authentic. I want to find a new word. But people are searching for ways to be real with the clientele that they're trying to reach. And you mentioned that going through this human experience, being okay with trial and error, how do we adapt that? How do you help your small business owners adapt that to their business so that they can be resilient?
That's a great question. It's very much a lot of the businesses that I work with are marketers, right? And in marketing, you're always A/B testing things. You're putting two different versions of an ad out there and running both and seeing which one performs better. And you're constantly having this contest of which one's going to win, which one's going to do better than the other. The same thing can be done in how you're running your business. You can try things multiple different ways and see which one provides the better results. And be okay with, again, staying open to the possibilities. Maybe trying it this way will work. Maybe trying it that way will work. Not making too many changes all at once, right? This is something that's key for marketers. Not making too many changes at once, because you need to be able to isolate what's the thing that is making the difference, right?
Yeah, that thing about not making too many changes all at once. When it comes to what it is that you do with helping people with their processes, that's an absolute game changer, because I imagine that if you don't have processes in place, you run the risk of trying to change all the things at once, and then you have no clue where the breakdown is actually happening. So then you can't even fix what it is that's broken because there was no system put in place in the first place. So before I let you go, Mike, and we move on to our next guest, can you speak to that for both our businesses, large and small, about what one thing you would have them to do right now to help them to get a handle on their processes?
Ooh, to get a handle on the processes. Well, big picture, okay? Because a lot of times the details are tricky, right? Big picture. One of the most important things to cultivate in your business is compassion. Compassion for yourself, compassion for your team, and compassion for your clients. And neither one of those three parties should come at the expense of the other two. So, for example, if something is working really well for one of your team members but isn't working well for you, don't have compassion on them at the expense of having compassion on yourself. Or don't have compassion on your clients who may be toxic and who may be, calling you at 10 p.m., right? It's tempting to have compassion on them, but at the expense of being cruel to yourself. Keeping those three in balance actually solves a lot of issues. It answers a lot of questions. And when it comes to taking that and applying it to processes and how you're going to run things in your business, bear in mind what's good for all three interests, you, your team, and your clients. You keep that in balance and you'll do really well.
That's absolutely incredible. Thank you for putting a nice little bow on all of that for us. I really appreciate you being here with us today, Mike. And I know that people are going to want to reach out to you to help them to understand the processes in their businesses so that they can run much more smoothly and know where to catch those hiccups when they do happen. Thank you for being with us today, Mike. This won't be the last time that we see your smiling face, but I want to introduce you to more people. And I want to introduce you to someone who I had the opportunity to be introduced to not too long ago. And we've been navigating the world of structured processes with Mike, and I want to dive now into the deep and colorful realms of artistic expression. And my next guest is a master of the canvas, painting stories that span from the intimate nuances of the human form to the infinite expanses of the cosmos. She is fluent in 5 abstract styles and known for her unique ability to capture emotion through color frequency. And she's a beacon for anyone seeking to communicate essence without uttering a word. Please welcome to the next level stage a mesmerizing visual artist, Ina Concepcion.
Hi, thank you. I appreciate that introduction. Thank you so much.
Hold on just a second, Ina. So today, everyone, as I Hey, Ina. Oh.
Hi.
Well, hey
I'm like,
there.
what happened?
There we are.
I was like, what is going on? Yeah, okay.
Well, as I told you today, guys, as you're watching today, you're watching me do exactly as you heard me talk about with Mike. I'm working through my processes and teching all this tech because the tech is teching hard today. It is not wanting to be kind right now, but that's okay. I'm going to work it out anyway, and we're going to make it work. And I'm hoping that
adaptation is always on front.
I'm hoping that we're going to be able to keep this ball rolling. And I really want you to be able to see the art of Ina today. And I'm going to try and get this video to roll for you. We're going to see if it's going to play the game so that you can see the amazing artwork that she created just for today.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. There it is. Ina, if you can tell us, what are we seeing? What are we watching you create right now?
So this is an 8x8 panel. It's an 8x8 wrapped canvas. And right now you're watching me. I'm doing some pour. So I'm basically layering color. And now I've got a base kind of going down. And I do series of meditations kind of before I get into the work. And this one was particularly around that, like, kind of the intersection between leadership and innovation is what I was thinking about while I was doing this particular piece. And so you're watching me kind of go through the stages of layering, which is something that we often do in most of our practices and processes, right? Is we're layering, we've got like our foundational layers, and we've got sort of our team layers, and then we've got sort of, what's internal, what's external. So as I'm layering some color down, and then you'll see the other piece and how it all mixes together.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of layering, we've got a little bit of movement, then we've got a little bit more layering, then we've got a little bit more movement. And so, yeah, it's really part of, it's just really a process of our living experience, our practice of life, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
And yeah, thank you. I mix, I really do spend a lot of time in the mixing of the paint. I don't use paint just like right out of the bottle. Everything that you see is because I've already pre-mixed it. So there's a lot of, because I work with certain landscapes, and especially if I'm channeling something from the sort of cosmic forest or cosmic landscape, I like to have a level of pearlescence within the colors that I use. And so that's also one of the things that why I like to send out kits when I work with doing workshops and things like that, is because there's a vibrancy of the color that I actually mix. And then you can get these gorgeous little, I'll actually show you. I don't know if I can show you. This is the same piece, but dry.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to get it in the, yeah. So this is the same piece, but dried, and you can see there's like, there's openings, and it's got all sorts of little things going on.
Oh, wow. I love that. Thank you so much for creating that gorgeous painting for us to be able to see today, and be able to see how you work and have a bit of an understanding about how you work and what it is that you do. Art really has the power to evoke emotions and transport our minds. And I would love to know, what was that pivotal moment in your life that drew you into this world of abstract art and color frequencies? How did you get here?
I've actually been I've been doing some form of art since I was probably 4 or 5, like basically since I could hold a pencil. Um, but I will tell you, as an artist, the identity of an artist and really owning that identity is something that I've been much closer to in the last 5 years. So my relationship as an artist has been deepening over the last 5 years, because I really came to accept and, shake hands with this part of my identity. And within that, there's a lot of life experience behind that. There's been a lot of, lessons, a lot of illustration, a lot of digital work, a lot of painting, a lot of craft work. Like, I've done a little bit of everything. And I would say I did a lot of work in my early career as in administration, benefits administration, HR, et cetera, and operations. And so I was really looking for like a nonverbal way of communicating, because it was, especially, 10, 15 years ago, this work was very much by phone, like constant conversation. So I was really interested in getting back to this like nonverbal part of myself, like expressing myself nonverbally without relying on language. And so I just really delved into, what does it look like to communicate without words at all? And getting into the emotion behind the words, the energy behind the connotations, because a lot of us use language, and we can use the same language and still miss what the other person is saying, because there's filters, and there's, like we were talking, Mike was talking about, biases. There's all of these other things that become attached to words, an individual word or phrase. And
Yeah,
so
I
what
think
I
it's
was really
interesting
looking to do
I
was
think
to
it's
find
interesting what
something a
you're
little bit
saying
more
there,
rooted
Ina.
in being an earthbound being and the human experience and the relationships between those two things.
Yeah, I
And
think
so
Ina,
I
I think
developed
it's
this, what
interesting
I
what you're
call color
saying there.
frequency, in the sense of, how deep and intense can I use color to emote and also to engage?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think it's interesting what you're saying there with working with the people that you work with, doing the work and the art that you do. I know that you also do workshops. So I'm curious to
I do.
know that as you're creating these masterpieces with different corporate groups, small business groups, what are you finding? How is this helping them? What are you finding that this does for them? What does this bring to the table for them as a company?
Well, so color frequency, the way that I process color frequency, it's almost like your neural pathways, or like mycelium, right? Which mycelium is, kind of like the neural pathways under the forest that allows trees to talk to each other, right? It allows the forest to kind of know what's going on underground and above ground. And in that sense, it's when you're engaging with a deeper rooted emotional response within yourself, it is much easier for you to be present and very aware of who you are, your surroundings, and your relationships to the people that are around you. And that goes for your relationship to the work, that goes for your relationships to time, your relationships to your emotional responses or your intellectual responses. And so much of my work is really rooted in these relationships as, the human experience unfolds. And the deeper that you're able to engage with that, I feel like the better you're able to be present, aware, and that allows you to be open for adapt.
Yeah, and I can imagine that when you are open and aware. And Ina, hold on for just a second. For some reason, we can't hear you anymore. You've muted yourself, Ina. Okay, so while Ina is working on her microphone and getting herself unmuted, um, I can imagine that the work that you're doing, Ina, the way that you are helping companies to be able to see without words their relationships between each other. But because when it comes to working as a team, being able to understand how you coexist together is incredibly important. And sometimes as teams, it's hard to see that. And when you bring in the medium that you do with the art and being able to do something in such an abstract way, but being able to see how all of it fits together, because at the end of the day, companies, teams are really an abstract piece of art. And they are paints mixing and pouring that some CEO has picked from over on this side of the company to bring with this sales manager on this side of the company. And their beautiful colors mixed together to create this beautiful tapestry of the business that they're in,
Right.
that they get to present to their clientele. But that means that you have to be okay with that ebb and flow. Ina, I thank you so much for being with us on the show today. And I would love to ask if there was one thing that you want people to understand about you. And before I ask you for that one thing, I'm going to ask you to tell very briefly about the exhibit that you have in Las Vegas right now. You've got an
Yeah,
exhibit.
thank
If
you.
you could
I
tell us really briefly
I'll be at the
where that
slow
is
slow
and for how long it's up.
Yeah, so it's at the Slolina Art Space and that is in Vegas. It will be from December 1st through the 31st. And actually, this collection behind me is part of the exhibit.
Oh, that's
So
awesome. That's so,
yeah.
they're so gorgeous.
And then I have like a much larger piece that's like half a wall size
That's
that'll
awesome.
also be
That's awesome.
going.
Well, if you're in Vegas, it's up in that space until when?
December is for the whole month,
The
the
whole
first
month.
through the 31st.
To the
Mhm.
31st of October. Okay, so you have until
Oh, of
Halloween?
December.
Oh, of December. Okay.
Mhm.
1st through the 31st of December. So be sure to go and check that out. If you are in the Vegas area, you can meet Ina Concepcion in person. And Ina, if you could briefly tell us if there's one thing that you would want people to know about what it is you do and how they can incorporate art into their life.
I am a firm believer that all of us are creative and we all have our artistic ways about us. I my the agency that I'm creating right now is called Creative Arousal, and I chose that name specifically because I want others to understand that you can arouse your creativity in any space at any time as long as you choose to. It's a cultivation, it's a practice. And as you're living this human existence, you can really choose to incorporate the joy, the nuance, the neutrality, and the passion of being an artist and the creative process and anything that you decide to do.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here with us today, both Mike and Ina. Thank you both for being here with us today. I really appreciate learning more about you and all that you do, and thank you for sharing your wisdom. Both of you, thank you so much for that. And thank you for you being here on this live stream, whether you're here with us live or in the replay. If you want to know more about how you can be with us in the Zoom meeting where all the action is happening, where you can see how in the world I'm working this tech and maybe even learn a trick or two to help you make your next virtual event, podcast, or live stream better, look down in those comments and come and see me. You can reach out to me and I will help you out. Thank you again for being with us here on the Business Breakout. I'm Ella Glasgow, the Director of Funability at Beyond Virtual Events, and we will see you next time. We'll see you next time if everything wants to go well. We're going to see you next time because the tech is not teching. Thank you so much for being here today. Bye.